So we've talked about Fusion and exporting to an STL file. Now let's talk a little bit about computer-aided design in more detail and 3D printing. So the goal of this lesson is that you have a basic appreciation of the parts and the settings of a 3D printer. To start with, there are two main types of 3D printers. We have the resin printer and the FDM printer. The FDM is the most common type of printer. It's what most people think of when they're thinking of a 3D printer. The resin printer, a little bit less common, but very, very useful. They both have very specific applications. I've used both for a range of different things, and they're fantastic for what they are optimized for, but there's strengths and weaknesses of both of them. So let's go through those. Firstly, the resin printer. The way that this works is it uses a special liquid that's UV cured. So the base of the resin printer has a UV plate, and it's almost like a very high resolution screen, but instead of having an image, it just has lots of tiny little dots of UV light. That cures the resin, and then as the plate pulls that resin out of the pool of resin, millimeter by millimeter, it cures more and more of that layer, and this starts to create the object. So I'll show you a little animation in rapidly sped up of what this looks like. So each of these is creating a tiny layer. It's curing that layer as it goes, and then it creates an object. Some of the advantages of the resin printer are that it gives you very, very high detail. So if you were doing little 3D miniatures for like tabletop gaming, for like D&D, etc., it's fantastic for that. It gives you very, very high resolution. You don't see the layering, so you won't see the layers that you do on the other types of printers. It also prints solid objects. So most of the time, unless you do some fancy magic with your model, it's going to be 100% solid. So it uses a lot more liquid than, say, a FDM printer will do because it'll print hollow objects. The flip side to that is they're much stronger, but it is also much slower. It's a much slower printing process. So if you were just building a cube, you wouldn't use a resin printer because it would make a solid cube and it would take a really long time compared to the FDM style. So that is the resin printer. The FDM printer is fused deposition modeling. It's basically the filament style printer. It's the ones that we see all the time. Has a spool of filament that it pulls through. There's an extruder that gets really, really hot. It melts that filament, and then it basically layers it, draws it onto the bed, a bit like this. Again, bird's eye view and top speed. But this is what it's doing. Layer by layer, it's creating your image. Some of the advantages of the FDM is that it gives you a hollow object, so it can be much more efficient. You can change and manipulate how hollow that thing is. It's much faster, much easier cleanup. You don't have to worry about washing prints and getting all the resin off. The second it's done printing, you can pull it off the bed and it's good to go. Depending on the type of printer you've got as well, it can be very fast. Some of the more modern printers now are much, much quicker. So years ago, it used to be to print a simple cube would take hours and hours. Some printers now could do that in like the 50mm cube, maybe in 25 minutes. In terms of the filament that we use in an FDM printer, the most common by far is PLA, which is actually made from an organic material. So it's really corn-based. PLA stands for its ingredient. So it's something like polylactic acid or something like that for memory. It's very cheap. It's quite strong for most applications. It is fairly brittle, so you can snap it depending on how strong your object is. But the best thing is it's cheap. It's far safer for the emissions and the hazard that it presents. And it's a bit more environmentally friendly than some of the other materials. One of the other more common the more common filament types is called ABS. This is a much stronger version of PLA, so it's a different material entirely. It's much stronger, but also has a higher melting point. So you need to specifically change the settings on your 3D printer to increase that extruder temperature to be able to melt the ABS. So it's more expensive, but it is very, very strong. So if you're building something that was being used, or it needed to be really, really strong, you might opt for ABS over the top of PLA. Other options, and there are lots of options, but some common ones you get are nylon. So this again is a very strong material, very high melting point, so 265 degrees. PLA, for example, is normally around 190 to 220. ABS is higher again, and then nylon is very high at 265. So again, it depends on what you're building, what kind of durability you need. You can even get flexible materials. So you can get like a rubber type material. For example, I've seen people 3D print wheels, and the wheel is printed, looks like a wheel, but it's actually quite squishy. So it feels a bit like a rubber wheel. So you can get those kinds of things as well. To compare the two most common, PLA versus ABS, the tensile strength is how strong that material is, how many megapascals of pressure it can take. Gives you a gauge of stiffness. So PLA is a bit more stiff, 3.8 gigapascals versus 1.6 to 2.4. Transition temperature, this is sort of what temperature the glass bed should be. Ease of printing, a bit of a scale. Durability is the main one. PLA is very brittle. ABS is very, very strong. So if you're doing something that needs to be hard wearing, ABS or nylon are some good options. Let's talk about parts of a printer. There are lots and lots of different types of printers. They all look slightly different. Some of them are enclosed, some of them aren't. However, they nearly always have the same essential components. If we break down, this is the Ender 3, for example. This is a very good entry point. It's very cheap, but very good quality printer. Let's talk about the parts that you would find. The most common one is the bed. So that is this point here where the print is actually done. Sometimes the beds are removable. So the ones that we use at the moment, the bed comes off and you can flex it to help get the material, your print off if you need to, as well as take it off to clean. So that's your printing bed. The hot end is basically the bit that gets really hot. So the extruder is located there. That's this bit here. That's the little metal nozzle that gets really, really hot. That's where the melting is done. Depending on the type of printer, you either have a motor separate, or in a lot of cases now they put the motor inside the hot end. And the motor is what's feeding in the filament. So the filament comes in, grabs onto the motor claws, and the motor pushes it through the extruder as it goes. Everything else is really movement based. In this case, the printer is actually moving the bed backwards and forwards. So this one, the bed moves back and forwards, and then the actual hot end is sliding left to right, and it has a secondary motor over here that moves up and down. So it's actually able to move the plate back and forward, the extruder left to right, and the entire arm up and down. Other printers sometimes move the entire base in every direction. Sometimes the base itself does not move, it only moves up and down perhaps, and the entire hot end can move in 3 dimensions. So most of the enclosed style printers, the hot end piece itself will actually move in an XY direction. Sometimes that goes up and down, sometimes the bed goes up and down. There's lots of variations to it. So your main components are the bed, the printing bed or the build plate, the hot end, the extruder or the nozzle is the bit where the filament is actually melted. Then all of the other bits in between, you've got like your feed pipe, the feeding motor, etc. Everything else is just movement based. So you've got motors, you've got guide rails and things like that to help move the model around as it prints.